So I'm truly honored to be invited here in Pakistan. So I was a little kid. I heard Pakistan, a lot of stories between our peoples. And we help each other. And through so many years, I'm so glad to see Karachi and Pakistan developed very well. Okay, so I read one link that in year 2030, Karachi will become the largest city in the world according to population. Okay, of course, for such a large city, we need more emerging technology to help the countries. For example, MRT and the blockchain technology. So come back to now, and the Pakistan is not fully connected with internet. So my topic today is inclusive connectivity. Okay. So everybody knows history of the internet is already 30 years. Okay. And from the very beginning of the concept of internet, it's almost 30 years. Then let's see what is the current situation about our digital world challenge. Okay. Still, there's 3.9 billion people not connected. Half of the world is not connected. Not only in Pakistan, in China and the United States and all the rural areas, and people are not connected. They don't have the opportunity of education and the e-commerce and the economic booms. So the connectivity is the most important human right. Okay. So not only connectivity, there's also 1.3 billion people and even without power, and 2 billion people without bank account. And what's the problem with the world? So the reason is centralization. Okay, from the internet, we check the history, we can find out the exact reason why, in 1962, our founding father of the internet already, proposed the concept. And he graduated from Washington University in St. Louis, the founding father, the same school I'm pursuing my PhD degree in computer science. Okay, but when I was in school, I even don't know. I don't know the founding father is from my school, because at that time we think internet is natural. But after 20 years, and when we look back, why our internet cannot connect all the people? So let's check what happened. Okay, so this PPT actually is I made when I delivered a speech in MIT, Boston. Okay, so after 30 hours flight, and I prepared this PPT, and when I suddenly found out the founding father is from my school, and also he proposed this idea in MIT. So I'm tracked the root of the internet. And my next stop at that time, last November, is UCLA. It happened UCLA is the first spot, is the first router located in Clean Rock's office. Our first packet ever of the internet is issued from UCLA. So I think this kind of a destined, it's kind of the fate of the internet nowadays come to decentralization. Okay, why? Because internet have very thin protocol. Okay, so we can see here we have 3 kinds of a network formation. One centralized, one decentralized, and the right one is distributed, called mesh network. Mesh network have a lot of advantages, but cannot scale, because all the node is not incentivized. We have no way to make payment. And because it is too distributed until blockchain appear, okay? So we check our internet protocol. We found, okay, the protocol layer is very thin, but the application layer is very thick. So if somebody is doing engineering work, and they will know, the TCP/IP, the code is very simple. It's on the Linux kernel. It's not much. And for graduate students, it's 1 month to understand and to manipulate. So the application layer is very thick. Therefore, our carriers develop like a billing functionality. So they can bill people. They can build the internet for the people. But we found, okay, the internet is actually centralized because carriers want to build the internet according to their ROI, return on investment. So they don't want to go to the rural areas because the money return is not good. So this centralized mechanism of protocol and result in today's centralization of the whole internet. And also the application layer is totally centralized. For example, Facebook and Google, Alibaba, WeChat, all centralized. Our data is stored on their servers. Okay, so there's no privacy actually for our ordinary users. Okay, now we come to the blockchain era. Okay, so you compare the two protocol stack. The blockchain protocol stack is very thick, it's very reachable. They have a distributed ledger, and they have billing functionality. They can make payment without center, without centralized authority. So peer-to-peer payment is possible. Therefore, the application layer is very simple to develop. So blockchain, that's why blockchain can empower individual organizations to do a lot of work. So blockchain technology is the most important technology for our world, for consensus, okay? So now we put blockchain node into very simple smart devices. Then it comes to a very powerful, and it can be compared with like several million US dollars, like a base station, and very expensive routers. Because the mesh box have the Spectrum public blockchain node inside, and also have the photon layer, second layer, like offline payment. Then it solves the problem of the scalability of our internet. So every distributed node can join together, and they can make payment to each other, and they solve the problem of scalability. Okay, so this kind of like architecture is very important for the world, okay, because so many areas, there's, for example, like Philippines, there's a lot of typhoon. And that's why like 40% of their people are not connected. Because on islands, if you build an expensive base station, and it will be blown away by the typhoon. But with this portable mesh box, and it can easily to build a network after typhoon, or even in the typhoon, okay? So the mesh box can connect to each other to form a mesh network. And because every node can be incentivized by the token, so everybody can join to be a distributed carriers. And with uplink from the either fiber, microwave, white space, or satellite. Okay, satellite is actually the future of human connectivity. Because like within 10 years, there will be more than 20,000 low orbit satellites being launched to our space. And it will provide coverage for the whole planet, okay, anywhere you can use a very cheap transceiver, and you can subscribe uplink. And then use SmartMesh, Meshbox, mesh network as the last mile. So, like in the past 60 years, the people cannot be connected. But within the next 10 years, the whole world population will be connected. So let's get ready for this rock and roll party. Everybody will be get connected and educated. They have the chance. They have an equal chance of education and e-commerce and entertainment. Okay. So, but the problem comes with the satellites. Okay. So everybody knows SpaceX will launch 12,000 satellites as a single company. And the rival, OneWeb, will launch several thousands. And also the Bezos from Amazon will also launch several thousand. And China, Russia, France. So every country will launch 1,000 or even more than 10,000 satellites. So we can see the picture. Our Earth will be circulated, crowded by the low-orbit satellites. Okay. So several days ago, there's a collision avoidance happened because SpaceX satellites almost collide with another debris. Okay, it's very dangerous. So the best way is to reach some consensus. Not every home have an uplink to the satellite. So in the ground, we should have a bandwidth sharing, distributed computing, and distributed storage, because that's more suitable for the future, for the Internet of everything. Because even connected with satellites, if everybody want to connect, there's congestion and also latency. But with the peer-to-peer smart mesh network, and we can best support the low latency and the task. For example, the vehicle-to-vehicle communications and all other like Internet things connections. Okay. So smart mesh and meshbox can effectively reduce the amount of the satellites. Okay. So why blockchain can do that? So everybody knows Bitcoin, Ethereum, very slow. So the transaction is only, probably like 7 transactions per second, or like 20 around. So why blockchain can help to, count those packets? So because the blockchain, we have the second layer technology called fault network. So all the peer-to-peer payment transactions, we don't have to go through the first layer, which is the global consensus. That needs a long time. But in the second layer, the fault network, it will be instantly finished. And also, there's no limitation on the transaction per second. Okay. So now we come to mesh combined with the blockchain, we actually create another era of blockchain. The first era is Bitcoin. Second, we have the Ethereum. Vitalik designed the Reinvent smart contract. And the third one, programmable society. Okay, smart city, everything. But all the blockchain technology, including all the inclusive finance program, software, all based on internet. But our current internet is centralized. So now all the blockchain technology is overlaid on the centralized internet. So wherever there's no internet, there's no blockchain. So the boundary of blockchain is the internet. So for the first time, smart mesh combine blockchain and mesh technology. And we break the boundary of the internet. So in those places, for example, on the island, there's no internet at all. But with several mesh boxes, you can build your payment network even without global internet, because we have distributed ledger and we have all payment like solutions there. Okay, with internet, with uplink, of course, everybody will connect it into the global internet. Okay, so we call it a blockchain 4. We give the blockchain a new dimension. This dimension is networking, and we break the boundary. So the token is similar to tokenize the TCP/IP. Of course, TCP/IP is not the only protocol we needed for this world. You know, for Elon Musk, he always wants to travel to Mars, okay? And at such a long distance, we need other protocol. We call it DTN. So I will introduce later, okay? So from the first layer, zero layer mesh network, and layer 1, layer 2, we plus together, we can support, for the first time, real offline payment of crypto. You don't need the internet to make payment. So all centralized system need internet to make a payment. Need a bank, even like WeChat Pay, mobile pay, they need centralized server. But crypto can make offline payment. Okay. So here we define a turning point for our internet. The first generation circuit switching. So, you know, the two parties want to make a phone call, have a physical line, okay, called circuit switching. The second generation is packet switching. So it's invented by Clean Rock in MIT, okay? And he is the guy, like he's actually founding father to send the first packet. And now I define the third generation as token switching. So tokenized asset will be switched and in the value internet. That's our future internet, okay? So with all this concept, we come to understand how our internet can be decentralized, okay? So previously, all the equipment, the big vendors and all the big carriers. And now with satellites and with SmartMesh protocol, and those villages in rural areas, on island, they can help themselves to build their own network. And they can charge each other fairly, transparently. All the data cannot be tampered. So in this way, our world can be connected within 10 years. Okay. So this is the indoor use of the mesh boxes, okay? And this is the indoor mesh box. We have the Maxwell, mesh box Maxwell, mesh box Tesla. It's for commercial and for family use. And they have the Intel CPU inside. They can run distributed computing and distributed storage. Your data can store on the mesh box and distribute to other mesh boxes without leakage of your privacy, because all the data is encrypted. So that's our future architecture of our IT. So this is outdoor use, because in many areas there's no electricity. Even with like satellites, there's connectivity, uplink, but you cannot get people connected because there's no power. Therefore, we have the outdoor version with a solar panel integrated. They can charge your cell phone. So on an island, without like a power line, but with green energy and with a satellite uplink, and people can be connected. Okay, so this is the outdoor version of the mesh box. And on the right side is the IoT gateway. So this is a LoRa. LoRa is like a low energy, like wide area network. So we also support like sensors for the Internet of Things. Okay. So we come to the new definition of our IT infrastructure. So the first generation is the mainframe used by bank. It's all centralized. Second generation, PC cluster. Google invented like MapReduce. And they use 30 PCs, and performance is better than more expensive like a mainframe. And third generation is the cloud virtualization, Amazon, Alibaba, Ali Cloud. And fourth generation is hyperconvergence. And now we come to the fifth generation, and represented by SmartMesh and Meshbox, we call it HyperMesh. And in the lower layer, they are distributed. But in the hyper layer, people use as just like a cloud. Okay, so this is the divide between the two generations, two decades. So previously, social, cloud, and mobile is our application. So like a Facebook, Google. But in the future, AI, blockchain, and IoT will be the leading edge technology to reshape our future. Okay, so this is the first time we did a space ground integration network, okay, the testing. And we use the satellite and the ADDO satellite, and also we use the Meshbox and to incentivize the node. So we do the POC, proof of concept, okay. And this is for the Philippines, because the Philippines is going to launch their satellite next year, and also balloons. So we use SmartMesh to do the last mile, and we can get people connected. And in Pakistan, in the rural areas, actually we can do the same. And also after Philippines, our next stop will be like Indonesia, because there's more islands. Okay, now we come to the architecture of blockchain, okay? So all blockchains right now work on the Earth. So, but within several years, human going to reach Mars. But the distance between the Earth and the Mars, the light have to travel 42 seconds. So all the consensus of blockchain failed. The blockchain doesn't work in the space. So that's why we have the second layer we call photon network. It doesn't matter the distance, because it can work even offline. So that's the beautiful part of this architecture. So it can work on the Earth and also in the space. Okay. So this is the picture of the internet food from the like a smart farm with all the sensors, because there's no 5G station, no 4G station. And we use Meshbox, the IoT, and the LoRa, we can build the smart farm, smart ocean, smart mountain, smart valley. And then we have the blockchain-based supply chain to transport the food. And in the home, we have smart home. You know, there's many video cameras in every family in the future. And right now, all the data, all the video stored in the cloud. So this is very dangerous for everybody, okay? And in the future, the Meshbox will be the gateway for the smart home. And all the data will be inside your home. And when necessary, and you can, you know, send the data, allow the data to be used by big data company. So that's the future of our data usage, okay? So this is how SmartMesh can improve 5G and later integrate with 6G. So 6G, the best part is D2D and mesh network and satellite. So always like a 1G is transit, 2G is stable, and 5G is also transit, and 6G will be stable with satellite, space ground integration network. So now we come to a chance for Pakistan to leapfrog. You know, I studied in United States for 5 years, and I worked there also for a long time. At that time, you know, China has no credit card, but the United States have credit card. It's more advanced. But, you know, after I come back to China, you know, for several years, and mobile payment developed. So the user experience is much better than the credit card. So when I go back to like Boston, St. Louis, okay, so it's the user experience is kind of different. But Pakistan will meet another chance to leapfrog and to, to bypass even the mobile payment and the credit card, directly go to the crypto world. Okay, so that's all my contents. Thank you very much. Okay.